Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Bellflower City Council. It is Monday, September 14, 2020. We are reconvening for open session. There is no reportable action that was taken during closed session. It is 7:02 by my watch, and I am calling this meeting to order. This evening, our City Council will consider one public hearing item on ADUs, one ordinance item on public spectators and speeding contests, and related to street racing. We have two consideration items on council salary, as well as anti-drug messaging and a gift card program. And under consent calendar, we have 10 items this evening. Before we begin, please note that all public meetings will be recorded. When a participant logs in via the computer or calls in to join the meeting, their name and/or phone number will be visible to all participants. Unless you are providing public comment, your audio will be muted and your video will be disabled. Persons wishing to be audience members to the meeting may do so anonymously. Anonymous participants, however, will not be recognized for public comment. Persons who seek to bypass the city's host controls will be dropped and blocked from the meeting. Thank you for your cooperation. Item number 6, Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Dutton.
Here.
Councilmember Hamada.
Here.
Councilmember Santinez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Coops.
Here.
Mayor Garza.
Here. Thank you so much. This evening will be led by Councilmember Sunny Santa Ynez for our invocation, and I will be leading us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Let's bow our head in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of life, the gift of family, the gift of community. We thank you for all the blessings bestowed upon us. We thank you for giving us wonderful staff. We thank our members of the military, our first responders. Please keep them safe as they keep us safe. We thank you for giving us our medical workers and essential workers for keeping us safe. As we gather today, we pray for those who have been afflicted by COVID-19. Please heal them and comfort them. We also pray for the pharmaceutical industry to find the vaccine for COVID-19. We also pray for those businesses who've lost or reduced their business. Please comfort them and encourage them to get more business. We also pray for those who are homeless, those who are ill, and those who don't have food on their table. As we gather today to discuss things before us, please give us the wisdom and enlighten us to decide what is best for our community. We ask all this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you, now and forever. Amen.
Please face the flag. Place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Item number 9, City Council announcements. So I will start that off. For my council comment this week, I would like to show a short video by Studio 111 about New Hope, Bellflower's temporary shelter. Madam Deputy City Clerk, will you please play the video?
Deputy City Clerk, we can't hear the volume. Can you please turn it up? Karen, if you unmute yourself, it may work. We'll go ahead and put this on hold, Karen, and come back to it.
Okay, great, thank you. So while we take care of the technical difficulty at the moment, why don't we move on to our next council comment, Mayor Pro Tem Dan Coops.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city of Bellflower recently rolled out the Bellflower Recovery Program, which allowed for restaurants and retailers to take their businesses outside by applying for a temporary permit. The program has now been expanded to include barbershops, salons, nail salons, fitness, and personal care services. All establishments must adhere to guidance provided by the LA County Public Health and apply for a city permit to lawfully operate. For businesses with wide sidewalk frontage seeking outdoor space, the Bellflower Business Recovery Program provides modifications to allow for outdoor dining and sales on sidewalks, parking lots, and other rights-of-ways. Retail sales are permitted in the parking lots and in side lots. All applications must be approved prior to business modifications and can be found on our website at www.bellflower.org. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem Coops. Let's move on to Councilmember Sunny Santanes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Southeast Los Angeles County Workforce Development Board received over $1 million in funding designated specifically to support job seekers and businesses impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Current funding includes training and job search assistance, special support service, and special assistance for small businesses. If you're interested, please call 562-402-9336 Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to make an appointment. In addition, the Employment Development Department representatives are available and can be reached by phone or email for general unemployment questions. To speak to an EDD representative, please contact 562-402-9336 extension 6007 or 562-484-5020 or email WSB122CRTSINBOX. It's a long one, so let me repeat. WSB122CRTSINBOX at edd.ca.gov. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Santanes. Councilmember Hamada.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a good evening, Bellflower. I'm going to say that the City of Bellflower invites you to participate in the Bellflower Honors Program. This program offers an opportunity to honor past and present military personnel from Bellflower by dedicating a street pole banner. Banners will go up in November and stay up for 1 year and then be given to the honoree or family as a thank you for their service. So for more information, please contact Mike Machado at 562-804-1424, and that'd be extension 2258, or email mmachado@bellflower.org. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Hamada. Councilmember Dutton.
Thank you, Mayor. The city's next special and general municipal election will be held Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. At the close of the candidate nomination period on Friday, August 7th, 2020, there were no more candidates than offices to be elected for the districts number 1 and 2. Pursuant to the election code at the special meeting on August 19th, 2020, the City Council appointed council members Raymond Hamada for a new term of 2 years to represent Council District 1, and also Mayor Pro Tem Dan Coops for a new term of 4 years to be represented at Council District Number 2. The new terms begin December 2020. The election of Council Member District Number 4, for which there are 5 qualified candidates, remains on the ballot November 3rd, 2020, to be voted upon by Bellflower voters residing in District Number 4 only. All Bellflower voters will have an opportunity to vote on the city's ballot measure, which is Measure M, on the November election on this ballot on the 3rd of November. The last day to register to vote in November election is October 19th, 2020. To register for a vote at www.lavote.net. For more information about the election and voter registration or which council districts you reside in, please contact the city's clerk's office at 562-804-1424, extension 2271, or via the email at cclerk@bellflower.org. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Dutton. We're going to go back and we're going to try one more time. So for my council comment this week, I would like to show a short video by Studio 111 about New Hope, Bellflower's temporary shelter. So, Madam Deputy City Clerk, will you please play the video?
Imagine being homeless, not having a shelter over your head. It is such a fundamental component of living. We have about 53,000 folks every night sleeping unsheltered in Los Angeles County. When our residents told us in a survey that homelessness was the #1 issue of concern, it really resonated with us as leadership.
And so we knew there was a need for shelters such as New Hope in the city of Bellflower, and we wanted to be involved and we wanted to help solve that problem.
This development isn't about high design, it's about bringing dignity to the building and to its residents that will be using it.
This is an existing lectures building. It's a rectangular layout. We decided to build kind of a structure within a structure and lay out the spaces within that rectangle.
It took us 5 months from the idea to turning the key in the door and opening that facility.
It's impacted my life in ways that you've never imagined. I believe I'm a better woman, a better mother. I'm a better person in society. I love myself, so I'm really blessed to be here.
What we notice is civic pride over the fact that we are helping our own.
People will show you love, show you compassion, make you feel like you are somebody in life, even if you are homeless.
I think we lose the focus in the fact that these are people, and so the ability to be able to help somebody out and get them off their feet was really attractive to me on a personal level.
Thank you for that, Madam Deputy City Clerk. This video and another short video from the dedication of New Hope can be found on our website at www.bellflower.org. And really a special thanks to Studio 111 for putting that together. I know it was submitted as part of a contest. And so we're waiting to see if it wins a prestigious award. So far what I've heard, and Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to be moving on in the rounds. And so hopefully, I think it's a solid story to share, and it's one that I think our city is really proud of. So just want to share that with our community. Thank you for that. And next item 9B, is a proclamation presented to Cerritos College proclaiming Cerritos College Day. So I will read the proclamation that we have in front of us, and will be mailed to Cerritos College and presented to them directly. So whereas Cerritos College is one of the country's leading comprehensive community colleges located in the southeastern portion of Los Angeles County, and whereas Cerritos College has a rich history and legacy of academic excellence and scholarship, whereas in September 2020, Cerritos College celebrates 65 years of excellence in service to the community, and whereas Cerritos College is dedicated to its mission to serve a diverse student population and is committed to providing these students with high-quality, comprehensive instructional programs and support services that improve student success and offer clear pathways to achieve personal educational and career goals. In doing so, the college develops in students the knowledge, skills, and values that prepare them to be productive participants in the global community. And whereas Cerritos College is dedicated to its mission to serve a diverse student population and is committed to providing these students with high quality, comprehensive instructional programs and support services that improve student access, student success, and offer clear pathways to achieve personal, educational, and career goals, be it resolved, the City of Bellflower wishes to recognize the significant educational, cultural, and economic contributions of Cerritos College to the community for more than 6 decades. And be it further resolved, the City of Bellflower commemorates September 17th as Cerritos College Day. Thank you, Cerritos College, for all you do. This was signed by myself, as Mayor Juan Garza, Mayor Pro Tem Dan Coops, Councilmember Ray Dutton, Councilmember Raymond Hamada, and Councilmember Sunny Santa Ynez. Congratulations. Item 9C, which is recognition of National Hispanic Heritage Month. In 1968, Congress created Hispanic Heritage Month. And whereas it is recognized Hispanics have had a profound and positive influence on Bellflower, providing diversity which enriches the community and a strong commitment to family, faith, hard work, and service. And whereas Hispanic Heritage Month demonstrates the unity and diversity of Hispanics from around the world who will celebrate their colorful and distinct culture, which includes people with roots from Latin American countries throughout North, Central, and South America. And whereas Bellflower residents are encouraged to make Hispanic Heritage Month a time of rededication to the principles of unity, respect, and trust for the betterment of our community. Now therefore I, Juan Garza, Mayor of the City of Bellflower, hereby proclaim September 15 to October 15, 2020 as Hispanic Heritage Month. And again, that's signed by myself, Mayor Juan Garza, Mayor Pro Tem Dan Coops, Councilmember Ray Dutton, Councilmember Raymond Hamada, and Councilmember Sunny Santa Ynez. Item 9D, National Childhood Obesity Awareness Month. Whereas since the 1970s, the rate of childhood obesity in our country has tripled, and today more than a third of American children are overweight or obese, and whereas this dramatic rise threatens to have far-reaching long-term effects on our children's health, livelihoods, and futures, and whereas it is our greatest responsibility to ensure the well-being of our children by acting to address the issue of childhood obesity, we can help America's next generation reach their full potential. And whereas Bellflower residents are encouraged to make Childhood Obesity Prevention Month a time of education, prevention, and action to reduce childhood obesity for the betterment of our community and our children. Now therefore I, Juan Garza, the Mayor of Bellflower, do hereby proclaim September 2020 as National Childhood Obesity Awareness Month. Again, signed by myself, Mayor Juan Garza, Mayor Pro Tem Dan Coops, Councilmember Ray Dutton, Councilmember Raymond Hamada, and Councilmember Sunny Santa Ynez. And I think this awareness for National Childhood Obesity is especially poignant considering our COVID-19 state and the inability a lot of the times of our children to be able to go outside and perform physical activity. So I think more than at any time, in any point in time, us being aware of this is crucial. And last but not least, item 9E, National Suicide Prevention Month. Whereas September is known around the United States as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month and is intended to help promote awareness surrounding each of the suicide prevention resources available to us and our community. The simple goal is to learn how to help those around us and how to talk about suicide without increasing the risk of harm. And whereas suicidal thoughts can affect anyone regardless of age, gender, race, orientation, income level, religion, or background, and whereas every member of our community should understand that throughout life's struggles, we all need the occasional reminder that we are all silently fighting our own battles. And whereas I encourage all residents to take the time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and neighbors over the next few days and to genuinely convey their appreciation for their existence by any gesture they deem appropriate. A simple phone call, message, handshake, or hug can go a long way towards helping someone realize that suicide is not the answer. Now, therefore, I, Juan Garza, the mayor of Bellflower, do hereby proclaim September 2020 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And again, that's signed by myself, Mayor Juan Garza, Mayor Pro Tem Dan Coops, Councilmember Ray Dutton, Councilmember Raymond Hamada, and Councilmember Sunny Santa Ynez. And again, once again, considering the challenges that COVID-19 presents to our community and the acknowledged increase in mental health distress and suicide rates during this challenging time, I definitely encourage all of us to be there for our neighbors, be there for our family members, and just know that there are other solutions. So thank you to staff for helping in putting that together. And now we move on to item number 10, public comments. Mr. Stewart.
This is the time set aside for the public to address the City Council on matters not listed on the agenda. Those wishing to speak on an agenda item must utilize one of three methods listed on page 2 of this agenda. You will be given 3 minutes to address the City Council. Attempts to provide comment at times not designated on the agenda may result in the city dropping you from the meeting.
Thank you for that, Mr. Stewart. Let me see. If you would like to speak, please use the raise hand feature. If by computer, it appears under the Participants tab. If by phone app, it will appear under the More button at the bottom right-hand corner. Or if by telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand. You will be called upon by the Deputy City Clerk in the order received. You can then unmute your microphone so that you can provide your comments. Madam Deputy City Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to make comments under public comment this evening?
Mayor, I'll give the public just a moment to utilize the feature. Mayor, I'm not seeing any public comment at this time.
Thank you so much for that, Madam Deputy City Clerk. Item number 11A, Mr. Stewart.
This is item consideration and possible action to 1, conduct a public hearing to consider an amendment to the Bellflower Municipal Code BMC to add a new chapter 17.17 accessory dwelling units, and 2, read by title only, waive further reading, and introduce ordinance number 1401, an ordinance amending certain sections of Bellflower Municipal Code to update the city's accessory dwelling unit regulations to be in conformance with the applicable state law and add regulations regarding junior accessory dwelling units pursuant to California Government Code Section 65852.2 and 65852.22. And I believe that Ms. Corpus has a staff report for us.
Yeah, I can see it. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The item before you is an ordinance that would update the city's accessory dwelling unit regulations, as well as add regulations regarding junior accessory dwelling units to be in conformance with applicable state law. Little background, in September of 2017, ordinance number 1345 was adopted regulating ADUs. In October 2019, Assembly Bill 68 and Assembly Bill 881 and Senate Bill 13 were signed by the governor, effectively putting forth together accessory dwelling units and junior ADU or JADU provisions. On January 20, the amended laws took effect, and that would be Government Code Section 65852.2 and 65852.22. In August of 2020, the Planning Commission held a public hearing regarding this ordinance and recommended to the City Council its approval. I outlined the summary of the amendments. The ordinance proposed. It includes new definitions such as multifamily dwelling, primary dwelling, tandem parking. Also, it includes development standards that pretty much outlines and clarifies that zones designated for ADUs may be altered based on impacts to water, sewer traffic flow, and public safety. Also, it does indicate that there are no parking replacements under specific circumstances for ADUs, such as conversions. Also, if an ADU is located within half-mile of walking distance of public transit. It also removes the requirement for the minimum lot size. It also decreases the side and rear yard setbacks, the side setback from 5 feet to 4 feet, and the rear yard setbacks from 15 feet to 4 feet. The amendment also includes maximum minimum square footages for ADUs, and also the maximum number of allowable ADUs and JADUs per lot, which would be single family as well as multifamily. And also standards and clarification of physical location of ADUs and JADUs within existing structures versus new construction. As mentioned earlier, new JADU regulations are included in the ordinance. And those regulations are outlined on page 9 of the staff report. The amendment also includes ADU use permit application process regarding owner occupancy requirements for ADUs being eliminated, the reduced application review time from 120 days to 60 days, also impact fees for ADUs that are less than 750 square feet are no longer applicable, and those that are above or more than 750 square feet or more would be calculated based on its proportion to the primary dwelling unit, or the square footage of the ADU in comparison to the primary dwelling unit. It also includes reasonable construction fee if applicable and inspection fees. The amendment also includes or requiring income reporting estimates, allowance for utility connections if applicable, and an application for a new address. In addition, the proposed ordinance also include language pertaining to allowances for delay in enforcement and subject to building officials review whether the violation is a threat to health and safety or not. The slide before you shows the different scenarios or configuration of how ADU and or JADUs could be incorporated within a single family dwelling unit or single family lots and multifamily lots, which also includes garage conversions. This slide is another depiction focusing on single family lots. Again, it shows conversion of existing space, conversion of a detached garage, brand new construction of an ADU, whether it's detached or attached. Staff's recommendation, as well as the Planning Commission's recommendation, would be to open the public hearing, take testimonial and documentary evidence, and after considering the evidence, read by title only, waive further reading, and introduce ordinance number 1401, or alternatively discuss and take other action related to this item. This concludes staff's presentation, unless there are any questions.
Thank you, staff, for that presentation. Let's open it up to questions from the City Council. Let's start with Mayor Pro Tem Dan Coops.
What we're doing here is trying to align what the City of Bellflower ordinances would be in relation to what the state has already mandated to be the case, correct? We're trying to be in compliance with what the state has put out as the standard.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that is correct. And if I could just tag team 2 extra items on what has already been presented. One is that the owner occupancy is an issue from state law. So state law currently now prohibits a requirement that the ADUs be owner occupied. You'll see though that in the ordinance we have put back in the owner occupancy after January 1st, 2025, which is when the current state legislation expires. One other point I wanted to make about uniform codes and habitability of these ADUs. they still have to comply with all the health and safety requirements of both the uniform codes and the health and safety code with regard to habitability. So simply converting or existing units or what have you, they still have to comply with those basic thresholds. That's not something that state law interferes with. In fact, we're actually enforcing state law with regard to those particular regulations. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
The reason for my comment was that I am not excited about what the state has mandated to be the case, but it doesn't sound like we have any choice in the matter other than to flutter along and to make ourselves legal. But, you know, to change the setbacks and some other things that we've always had as the rules on how to construct a normal neighborhood are thrown by the wayside, and that's a concern for fire and other things that we were always cognizant of. But I don't have any questions at this time, only that many of these things I just don't agree with. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for those comments, Mayor Pro Tem Coops. Let's go to Councilmember Sunny Santinez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would echo the sentiment of Mayor Pro Tem Coops in terms of what the state has been doing. And one of the things that really amazed me, in addition to, well, the city of Bellflower is a built-out community already in the first place. And we had already problems with parking. There's some streets that you cannot even go through if there are cars parked on both sides of the street. For example, and I go to this place every Sunday, going to church on Beach. So I go to Ardmore. From Ardmore, from park to Beach. There is no way that you can pass through that if there's an oncoming vehicle any time of the day. To me, that's one of the most congested parking area in the city, and I see that almost every Sunday. And one of the things that was reported today is so if one of the properties along Ardmore, for example, converts the garage into ADU, that means there's gonna be more need for street parking. And it's bad already, and this law that was passed by the state will just make it worse, because where will they park? Yes, I get it, because there's people who are homeless, and I think that one of the things they're trying to do is provide housing. But I don't think our friends in Sacramento is thinking of it in long term. I think they're just thinking of what's gonna happen today or the next year or so. But long term, I think it will really negatively impact the quality of life in the city. And here we are, we're approving something that we cannot even control. Just like what Mayor Pro Tem Coop said, we just have to go along with the state, because that is the state law. So we have no choice. So I just want to make sure that our residents understand that basically our hands are tied. There's nothing much we can do other than enforce our existing, just like what our city attorney said, we just need to enforce our regulations regarding compliance in terms of the housing. But in my example, if the garage is being converted into a unit and they follow all the rules, they provide a kitchen, a bathroom, there's nothing more we can do about it. And there's no requirement for them to replace the parking that will be lost from converting a garage into an ADU. That to me is one of the things that will significantly impact our city. And we have many streets in the city that are very tight, and it will just get worse. So I just want to make sure that our residents fully understand that it will just make our situations worse, because people are complaining about parking already. So with this new law that took into effect, it will just get worse. I just have one very clarifying question, Rowena. On page 7 of the staff report, on letter H, 2 and 3, it says detached ADUs cannot exceed 12,000 square feet. In the number 3, nothing in this section is meant to prohibit an ADU up to 850 square feet or 1,000 square feet for 2-bedroom unit. Can you reconcile those two provisions?
Sure. So the state pretty much requires the city to allow for ADUs around 850 square feet. So we cannot say ADUs, you can only be 400 square feet. We have to allow at least 850 square feet. And the maximum that we could allow for is 1,200. So the 850 would be the minimum for the city to allow for. And the 1,200 is the maximum that we could allow.
Okay.
Somebody who has a 400 square foot garage could go to the city and say, I want to convert my 400 square foot garage. That would be acceptable. However, there's nothing that the city could do if they want to do a conversion, or rather a brand new ADU at 851 square feet.
Should you clarify that? Because it seems like on number 3 is meant to prohibit an ADU up to 850 square feet. It sounds like it's not the minimum, the way I read it. But what you're saying, that's the minimum. Correct?
No, so the city is allowed, or rather, the city cannot prevent anybody from, we cannot impose a regulation that would say that an ADU has to be less than 850.
It cannot be less than 850, right?
No.
But the way it's written, it seems like it's almost like the maximum.
The maximum would be the 1,200.
Yeah, but I'm talking about. I fully get that. It's more of the 850.
Okay.
Is meant to prohibit an ADU up to 850 square feet. It's kind of confusing to me. If it's the minimum, I think it should be written that way, that the minimum is 850 instead of using these words of nothing in this section is meant to prohibit.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my suggestion is simply to take out,
You see what I'm saying?
yes.
Okay.
My suggestion is to take out 17.17040 H3. We'll just take out that particular subsection, and because the rest of it's clear, and this is meant to be a clarifying remark, but it's not clarifying. So we'll take it out.
Okay.
Just remove it, yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I thought I was reading it incorrectly, but they said, oh, what do they exactly mean? All right, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Solid questions, Mr. Sanines. Thank you for that. Let's go on to Councilmember Raymond Hamada, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, on principle, I'm going to echo the sentiments that's been presented by my colleagues. When I saw this first come out, by the state, and I think the big picture they weren't looking for. They were trying to focus on look at the existing development and cities and try to basically, the way it's going, it's gonna eliminate the R1 zone. I mean, you're not gonna have one house to a lot as the predominant feature in a city, but sometimes that's how it goes. I noticed that the definition for let's see, primary dwelling did not include parking area. So let's see, there. I think that, I think the way it's looking is that parking area is going to be eliminated to the most part, and there will not be any replacement. There's standards that there's so much area covered within this town. You're probably going to be, you're going to be permitted to not provide any of the parking, but it's turning into a tougher situation. Staff, I know. Again, it's clear for JADUs that they can't be sold separately. Can an ADU be sold separately, or will the base requirements in the base zone not permit that because of lot area and some of the other features or requirements?
The state code specifically indicate in which instances an ADU could be sold. And that's Government Code Section 65852.26, to where it could only be conveyed separately from the primary residence to a qualified buyer if all of the provisions are applicable in that instance, such as if the property was built or developed by a qualified nonprofit organization, if there's enforceable restrictions and such, and there's also recorded tenancy in the common agreement. So it does allow for ADU to be sold separately, but under specific conditions only.
Oh, okay, I did see that, but it wasn't clear in the language that we're presenting, tonight. I saw that one section. It was towards the end of the state law about if it's under a nonprofit, and so that's going to still apply no matter what. Yeah, I saw the shake. Yes, and that's the way I figured it. So. I just want to be clear, because I know when developers or homeowners are going to come forth, sometimes these things always can be very confusing. And again, want to thank my colleague, Councilman Santinez, that he spotted that one square footage confusion, because that didn't come across clearly. And this is going to be quite a challenge. So this law became effect January 1. We've had a number of them built. And with the new code, I know some of the building permits are pending because we're waiting for the code to be adopted so that everything will match up. So did that mean that the ones prior that constructed, will they become non-conforming, or will they mirror pretty much what's being presented tonight because of what we took from the state law?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'll jump on that one. It is correct that if building permits were issued, that those ADUs could be constructed in accordance with state law. When this ordinance, assuming that the council adopts it, becomes effective, then yes, those would become legal non-conforming buildings, but the differences between the state law and the local regulations are not so substantive that it will make a huge amount of difference with regard to those ADUs that are currently pending.
All right. I mean, that's the way it seemed. If we were pretty much taking what the state law presented, try to write it into our own law, and then go from there. I just hopefully didn't want any too much tweaking down the road. Personally, yes, I'm not thrilled, but again, housing is a big state issue. I know there's all sorts of other things. Again, as mentioned before, the traffic issues, and they weren't, clear on fire flow too, and other things that, as part of the infrastructure, could be very impacted, and could raise concern down the road. I hope in time, the term suburb will still exist and still be something that's maybe desirable, and hopefully not now redefined as a new dense area that one can seek home living, open space, ease of travel, safety available. it's definitely raises concern, but we do recognize the state laws on us, and again, just for the record, last question. Again, it's for Carl. Uh, Even if we were a charter city, because housing is pretty much a state issue, they wouldn't. Pretty much, it would still happen anyway, even within a charter city.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is something that we discussed before commencing with the charter commission process. The law is still unclear about that, and the reason I say that is because only the California Supreme Court can make a determination of what laws are applicable to charter cities. And you will have seen some attempts by the state legislature to circumvent that particular rule of law in order to create a carrot-stick approach in legislation. So one of those examples is, for example, with prevailing wage law, where it's apparent that the Supreme Court has said that prevailing wages are not applicable to charter cities, and in response, the legislature says, okay, well, we recognize that, but if you don't pay prevailing wage, then we won't provide you with grant money for fixing roads and what have you. So that's what I mean by trying to impose its will through different means. None of this law has been tested. It just became effective January 1st, 2020. Nobody has yet challenged it, to my knowledge, and it has not yet been tried to be imposed upon charter cities. So I can't say definitively that these laws would be applicable to a charter city or not, because it hasn't. The state Supreme Court has not given an opinion on it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Carl. Nope. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Hamada. Councilmember Dutton.
Thank you, Mayor. I had no comment up until Mr. Hamada's was asking about if an ADU could be sold. And Ms. Corpus, you still out there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
And so is Rowena.
So if an ADU, which you mentioned could be sold, you would have to divide the lot or do a track map on it to separate the lots? So you could sell a different lot? Is that how it would work? You'd have to have other utilities, its own sewer?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'll try to jump on that one
Okay.
and answer that one. It would not necessarily constitute a subdivision. If you think about other types of what have traditionally been affordable housing units, for example, mobile homes, those particular coaches are placed upon land. They pay rent to the owners of that property, and yet the owners own the coaches. And it would be a similar type of circumstances based upon the government code with regard to ADUs, where the transfer of ownership could occur under very specific circumstances for ADUs, but the underlying real property would remain with the original property owner. So if the actual land were to be transferred with the unit, then yes, it would have to be subdivided. But if the land were not transferred and only title to the actual ADU were transferred, you would not need a map for a subdivision.
So it would be similar to a trailer park? You would own the ADU, but you wouldn't own the land?
Correct.
Then you would charge, the landowner would charge a lease for the dirt that it sits
Correct.
on.
Right.
Interesting.
And I think that's probably why the government code section that's attached with the staff report is set up the way it is, talking about how a nonprofit would have the ability to transfer those types of ADUs. I think the idea probably is that nonprofit would be the owner of the property, the real property, and would simply be transferring ownership of the actual unit to the qualifying household.
Thank you. It makes a little more sense now. That was all I had, Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Dutton. I think SB 1120, the bill that died 2 weeks ago, the one that was carried by the pro tem, the Senate pro tem herself. I think that's what that bill was going to do, is allow for subdivisions to be able to allow for vehicles like this. It was like the next stage. And that thing died, not because it was a bad bill, but it died just because of political fighting amongst the legislators, and it didn't have time to make it through the other chamber. But it had gone all the way, and I think it was transferred. The Senate didn't take it up till 12:03 in the morning, which is after midnight, and that's why it died. So I fully expect it's going to come back. And not only does it allow for subdividing, but it allows for an additional subdividing after that. So you could have a single family parcel divided into 4 pieces. So that's the future that's coming up, or that we'll fight against. The one question I have is, not that I'm a proponent of this, I by no means am I a proponent of this, but if any units that are created under this, does the city get credit under the new RENA numbers? Do we know that?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I think I'll answer that question with an assertion, which we will claim credit under RENA.
Got it. Okay. Just not that I want to make lemonade out of lemons, but I did, and the rest is comments from me. I did actually, when SB 50 was going through its iteration, when we killed that thing, one of the things that I posted to the media was with regards to the parking challenges that efforts like this cause. And what was fascinating is that every time I noted how this would cause parking challenges and the problems we're already seeing amongst neighbors with illegal conversions and the impacts of parking, fascinatingly, those comments would never make it to the air. Like, it was like the reporters themselves knew it was an issue, and they kept focusing on the greater good, that it creates units, but they weren't not interested in the causal effects that would have, right? Which is really, again, disappointing. Just a story. This thing is just full of unintended consequences. I think there's better planning and growth strategies than something like this. And I think, not to belabor what was shared by my colleagues today, but I really think that this has a real potential of causing a lot of problems amongst neighbors, quality of life, and just the parking challenges. So, but it's state law. We have to follow it. We'll see what the future brings. But with that, that completes my comments and questions. And so with that, I will entertain a motion to open up the public hearing.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Coops and a second by Councilmember Sunny San Inez. Without objection, that will be the order. Madam Deputy City Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to make public comment regarding item 11A this evening?
Mayor, I'll give the public just a moment. Mayor, I'm not seeing any public comment at this time.
Thank you for that, Madam Deputy City Clerk. I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All right, so I have a motion by by Mayor Pro Tem Coops and a second by Councilmember Santa Ynez to close the public hearing. Without objection, that will be the order. Gentlemen, any final questions, comments regarding this item?
I have one question of
Yes,
Carl. Can a homeowners association keep from adhering to these rules, or this is statewide, every zone, every development needs to be part of this?
If I can rephrase your question, Councilmember
All
Coops, could CCNRs circumvent these particular requirements? I will give you a prediction, which is that if that were to occur, that the courts would cut through the CCNR saying that this is of statewide importance and would apply even amongst cooperation amongst private property owners. So even if the CCNR is contractually required this not to occur within a planned community, for example, my guess is that or educated guess I should say, is that a court will find that those particular protectionist types of clauses in CCNRs would be superseded by state law. How that applies to a charter city, I don't know that it's the same type of analysis, but I do think it would apply to a private contract like CCNRs apply to. Now, again, it's a year old. It hasn't been tested, and I'm not aware of any filings that have challenged the law. So I'm sure, I guess, we will see in the next few years how this shakes out.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem. Any other questions or comments, gentlemen? All right, hearing none, somebody like to make a motion on this?
I guess-
I'll turn
Thanks,
the
Dan.
microphone.
Take one for the team.
Yeah. You know, I like to think the things that we do up here make the city better. And I can't see where this will improve our city. But I've been wrong before. All right, conduct a public hearing, okay, amendment to the Bellflower Municipal Code to add a new chapter, 17.17, accessory dwelling units, read by title only, and read further reading, introduce ordinance number 1401, an ordinance amending certain sections of the Bellflower Municipal Code to A, update the city's accessory dwelling unit regulations to be in conformance with applicable state law, and B, add regulations regarding junior accessory dwelling units pursuant to Government Code 65852.2 and 65852.22.
Reluctantly, I will second the motion.
Okay, great. So I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Coops and a second by Councilmember Sunny Santa Ynez. Not hearing anything further, I will ask for a roll call, please.
Councilmember Dutton.
Aye.
Councilmember Hamada.
Aye.
Councilmember Santa Ynez.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Coops.
Aye.
Mayor Garza.
Aye. Thank you for that, Madam City Clerk. Item 12A, the first of our two ordinances and resolutions this evening. Mr. Stewart.
This is a consideration possible action to read by title only and waive further reading and introduce ordinance number 1403, an ordinance adding chapter 10.30 to the Bellflower Municipal Code, prohibiting spectators at motor vehicle speed contests and street racing events. Mr. Hockman has the staff report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Hopefully you can hear me okay. The item before you is really born out of the problem we've been having with street racing, not just in our area, but Southern California as a whole. The timing of it is especially acute because we're trying to be in concert with other cities that are moving in the direction of this ordinance, specifically Paramount. And we do joint operations with Paramount in the past regarding racing and other events, and we want to continue to be cooperative and in concert with them to the best of our ability. The focus of the ordinance really is to hold accountable those people that are spectating the events of street racing, reckless driving, and so forth. The term innocent bystander really doesn't apply here because, as you probably know, many of these events are organized with the assistance of a number of people on social media, cell phone coordination. Spectators act as lookouts for sheriffs to respond to these events when a call is made. In some cases, it's been reported by sheriff's personnel. These spectators have essentially put themselves in the way for a period of time in order to allow the motorists to escape the area and slow down any response by the sheriff to those individuals. And with pursuit policies and complexity of those in this modern age, you know, taking on an individual in a vehicle at high speed with a misdemeanor violation is really something that isn't done as readily perhaps as it was in the past for a number of reasons. So catching sometimes the motorist is a difficult endeavor. But by holding these bystanders accountable for their willful participation, their encouragement of the event and so on, planning and et cetera, perhaps we can take some of the energy out of that end of the equation. And quite frankly, it would be easier for sheriff's personnel to roll up on a crowd and deal with those individuals that are standing around. That's an easier arrest and can get more tangible accomplishment in many cases than trying to focus on one or two drivers. So that's really where we're going with this. This is, again, consistent with what Paramount's trying to do in other cities as it relates to bystanders. And the staff report probably was not complete. It does mention some lightweight citations, but in fact, you probably know that any violation of the city's municipal code can be written as a misdemeanor as well, which can carry $1,000 and some jail time potentially. So depending on the circumstances, the need to move, the ability to deal with the problem, the time available, the violation can go through administrative citations or it can go and be filed as a misdemeanor, depending on, again, what's prudent at the time at the event. So those are really my comments at this point. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that report, Mr. Hockman. Let's open it up for questions from my colleagues. Let's start with Councilmember Sunny Sanines.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Hockman, for bringing this item, and I really appreciate your effort to be in lockstep, for the city of Bellflower to be in lockstep with our neighboring cities. I think that's very crucial. As pointed out in the staff report, there's already sufficient deterrent for the drivers under the existing vehicle codes. So by adding this provision to basically penalize spectators, that will hopefully that will discourage them from even watching this event. So but I think when we pass this ordinance, I think the bottom line here is the enforcement, because we may have the vehicle code, we may have this ordinance, but unless and until we have the resources and the energy to enforce this, it doesn't mean anything. So I'd like you to address that issue of enforcement. How are we going to enforce this new ordinance once adopted?
Well, offhand, I would say there's going to be two most common. First of all, on any given night, this can occur, as you know, and they tend to roll through different cities when they're out and about. And so if something were to roll into Bellflower on a Tuesday night at 9:30, it's going to result in a call for service, and to the best of the patrol's ability, they can roll over. And again, when they roll up on a scene, if it's a crowd of people standing and couple of people driving, they'll have more to work with in terms of the enforcement, more options at that point. And the second most common way, which again, we've done in the past some, and we may be doing more in the future, especially now that we have this new tool, is working with neighboring cities, putting on overtime operations involving the traffic unit, a number of personnel, so that we can potentially be made aware of an event coming and be better prepared to respond timely and in a large way. So when we talk about those two approaches, that's part of it. But the other part is, if we have a reputation going forward where spectators are going to be accountable, hopefully that'll have some chilling effect in and of itself as far as people making choices on what cities to go to.
Okay, thank you. So my next question to you is, what are your plans in terms of promoting this or making it well known that we have this new ordinance now that motorists and all spectators will be penalized if they do these things? What are your plans?
Well, just again, offhand, we will be doing some of the normal promotion through city websites and so on, but I think it would be prudent to get in touch with the sheriff's, the overall department's traffic unit, and get in contact with car clubs and a little bit more targeting promotion as it relates to people who might be inclined toward this sort of thing. So we'll have to dig in a little bit and find out some of the best ways to get the word out, other than just a press release or other than just on the website, that sort of thing.
Well, I would also add the social media.
Correct, yes.
I think that's going to be a powerful way to disseminate the information.
Mr. Sanines, I think also that we have a good enough relationship with City of Paramount that we can jointly promote this through their social media and ours and help get the word out. I think that'll reach exponentially more people if we do that jointly. So.
Yeah, because I think the more people know about it, I think it's going to be a better deterrent.
Yeah, I think they're actually 2 weeks ahead of us on this. That we're right on the same wavelength on this.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Santa Ynez. Up next, Councilmember Raymond Hamada.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Hockman, thank you again for, again, moving on this quickly. Again, the mention of social media, again, I think a lot of the community finds out these things because some of the spectators are actually posting the event. Does staff do any extensive monitoring of any of the
we do
websites? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we do. Mr. Hockman does a fair amount of monitoring on the law enforcement side. And Nika does a fair amount of monitoring on the social networking that we do within the city. So we could do that. We pay more attention to it as well. But I think that we do have fair people looking at this.
Yeah, I just hope the community, when they spot it, they need to tell the right people.
Well, we're starting to hear,
Yeah.
from, as you
Yeah,
know,
and
we're
that's what
starting
I'm
to hear
hearing
from
too.
people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, I know the fines seem low. I know you had mentioned this is like a starting point. Can those fines be increased off the bat, or are we like starting with what falls under the administrative citation
Well,
process?
Mr. Modesty also mentioned in his staff report, we can cite these administratively as well.
Yeah.
As a misdemeanor, and we can go as high as $1,000 on these
Yeah,
fines.
all right, then added misdemeanor, all right. Because I'm not sure if it's happening too, but I'm not sure if the spectators, or if we see the result of a local donut race or whatever you want to call it. Has there been any additional tagging after a race? Be it the street, the spectators are using spray cans to mark a victory to them, whatever, or striping streets or anything. Nothing that.
We'd have to check
All
with the
right,
gang.
okay.
I haven't noticed it myself. So.
All right, yeah. All right. So that's just again, if they're caught, potentially more to subject them to. So. All right. No, I again, I think at least this is a great start. Needed to get on the books and move forward. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for those comments, Councilmember Hamada. Councilmember Ray Dutton.
Thank you, Mayor Garza. I think it's time to do something. This everybody sees all those donut circles in all the intersections, along with in parking lots. You see them on the freeway. Major safety factor. I too would like us to go into discussion tonight about the fines. We're leveling $2,000 fines on fireworks. This is just as bad as a car goes into a crowd of people. Very unsafe. I don't think a $100 ticket for the first offense is much of a deterrent. You get a hefty fine, it's going to go through that social media a little faster. If the pain is greater. So I would like to have more discussion about the fines if we can. But that's pretty much it. It's time we do something. We're all getting mean emails regarding this, and we need to do something about it. And darn, Paramount beat us by 2 weeks. But everybody, because the Press Telegram picked up the lead that Paramount did at their council meeting, and I'm sure every city around us is going to follow lockstep in it because we all have the same problem. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Dutton. Mayor Pro Tem Coops.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Joel, I'm going to ask you a question that's probably going to be better served to be answered by Len Gorecki, the Public Works Director. So, Len, you're listening as we speak on this item? Yeah, there he is. He's hiding in the corner. Well, he's over there in the... All right. So, we see the results of these donut burnouts in these intersections. And I put it in the same category as graffiti. You know, it's there, it's a terrible sight. Is there any way that we can rid those intersections? Can they be blasted with water, or it's permanent until we resurface the surface, or?
It's not permanent. It'll wear off over time. But the issue with power washing with high pressure on asphalt itself, it's not like it's concrete, a sidewalk where...
Right, so it's going to tear it up worse than before?
Correct. Yeah. So we go through, we do all our restriping every year. So when the tire marks hit portions of the crosswalks, when they're doing that, or lines. Those get covered annually, but to go and put a power washer on an intersection
That's just nuts.
would destroy the asphalt in terms of the high pressure water that you would have to use to do it.
Could we spray them with any kind of covering of we do this graffiti? I mean,
I'm always open to new and great ideas and products and items that are out there. I'd be very hesitant about putting anything down on the roadway that's not
that causes it to be
that's
more
not-
slippery.
It could cause it to do anything, and all of a sudden we have a whole nother issue on our hands. So, but certainly,
Can it be scrubbed off?
I'll take a look. Can I scrub it? Can I shut a four-way intersection down for a couple days to put a crew out there?
Well, no, I
contract?
guess I'm
Yes.
maybe asking for the impossible, but I'm just kind of brainstorming with you. How do we get rid of it? As
Well,
to
I don't know that there is a method. I mean, you drive into Paramount, go down into Lakewood, Norwalk, Cerritos, Downey. They're in every intersection. I think if it was an easy fix, you would see a lot of the cities addressing that, whereas I think the general rule of thumb is that it wears off over time. Is it unsightly? Absolutely. And like I said, I'll look around and talk to some of my public works people in the other cities and see if anyone's playing around with products or they have any ideas that are going on how they may be addressing it. But that really hasn't been the MO with it, the last few years that it's been going on.
no, it seems to be getting more predominant and more noticeable. And I think we're on the right track here. I think a lot of
Excuse
the yeah. But that's why I was wondering if there was a slurry that
It's only money.
yeah.
Only money.
But I'm just thinking how we could rid ourselves of these unsightly
Correct.
marks.
I mean, we've looked at it. Like I said, the idea of putting the pressure washer on there and
I just tears the
trying to
asphalt
do
up.
what it's going to do is it's going to take the rubber off, and it's going to leave a permanent scar of where the tire marks were. So you're not going to see the black rubber. You're going to see an indentation into the rubberized that now stays until I slurry it 7 years from now. So, like I said, there may be some ideas out there. We can certainly look around, ask around, and check to see what other communities are doing, if in fact they're doing anything with it.
We never catch these activities on some camera.
Oh, no, I think everybody runs out and starts hooping and hollering and filming it on their phones. It's the American way now. So, yeah, they catch it on their phones and they put it out there, and you get to see it firsthand. But as in terms of the how quick they organize and how quick they move from one community to another community, the phones and the text are much faster than a resident calling a sheriff and then it being dispatched than making it. They're in, they do their thing real quick, they get out, they move to another community. They're probably 2 communities away or 2 stops away before the original call ever gets responded to. It's pretty
So these aren't local
No.
drivers. These are a group of organized.
These are people from all over Southern California.
All right. Well, it's
We'll like I
just
said, we'll
move from one situation.
yeah, we'll look into some of the products and
Yeah,
processes.
I'm just again, I'm not thinking I have a magic bullet here, but apparently none of the cities do either. Maybe that's something somebody discovers a way to mitigate that.
Take a look.
Thank you.
Yep.
All I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem Coops. My questions were frankly answered. But before we move on, I just really want to thank our valued neighbors in Paramount for the leadership on this and the inspiration, and also just to remind our neighbors that in our city we're going to be embarking on a consideration of a traffic calming mitigation measures. I know it's coming up here soon, so I think it's a nice segue towards when we start doing that here in the next couple meetings. So with that, if there's no further questions to staff from our council, I will ask
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
members of the council. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
There's been several questions about fines, so I was going to try to address those.
Okay, please.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, with regard to fines, the staff report mentions the 100, 200, and 500 fine. That is the default fine mechanism within the municipal code. The city council can, by resolution, increase fines for administrative citations, and as Jeff has mentioned, these are also misdemeanors, which can be prosecuted criminally as misdemeanors if the prosecuting attorney wishes to do so. And you'll see in the ordinance that both the city attorney's office and the district attorney's office are authorized to prosecute these particular violations. So if the council wishes, we're certainly happy to take direction from the council to bring back a resolution which would increase the fines for these types of violations. I insert one note of caution. We have discussed in the past about the types of excessive fines that can be imposed. And I note that because the Ninth Circuit just came out in July of this year reaffirming the previous advice that I provided to the council with regard to excessive fines. You have to balance what kind of behavior you're trying to modify with the amount of the fine. So for example, if you were to impose a fine of $1,000 for jaywalking across a residential street, that type of fine is not going to be upheld versus a $45 fine type of example. Those are extremes, but I simply throw that out. But if that's something that the council would like to discuss on the next agenda, we're certainly happy to put it on there. I think it would coincide with second reading, so it would dovetail nicely with a second reading for the ordinance.
Gentlemen? Yes, please.
City Attorney, what do you think of $500 on the first offense? Would that be reasonable?
I think, Councilmember Santillanes, I think that would be reasonable under the circumstances. There is a life safety issue here. These are, they have been classified as deadly weapons under different circumstances, and certainly if there are no barriers or anything surrounding or protecting the spectators, and the spectators actually create the public nuisance, I certainly think that balances the deterrent versus the threat. So I don't think that $500 for a first offense would be unreasonable.
And then 1,000 on second, and then 2,000 on third?
Right.
Okay. All right. Just an idea. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So the amounts that he stated, go ahead.
I'm
Councilman.
good with that. I just had a follow-up with that. Also in the ordinance, it says in a 12-month period. Can we lose the 12-month period and have it, if it's first offense, it's a first offense. Second offense is a second offense. So after 12 months, does it start over again? It's a first offense in the second year?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, it only makes sense in this particular context, which is for misdemeanors, you have to file charges within 1 year of the original offense. And so that's where the 12-month period comes in from. It's measured from the time of the original offense.
What's your recommendation?
I would
12 months?
I would keep it 12 months. Yes.
Got it.
Mr. Mayor, I think after paying $2,000 fine, I think that will send a message already, hopefully.
So on the fine amounts, are we okay, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yes?
Good.
Okay, and the track that the city attorney is proposing?
Yeah, and Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if the council is all good with that, then we'll simply put that resolution onto consent. There's no requirement for a public hearing or anything like that, and certainly that was within the agenda description for tonight's discussion. So if that's the consensus for the council, we'll just put that on with second reading.
So an additional question, and I'm not sure again where this falls, but how about impounding?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as some of you may have read, Paramount does have a sort of additional ordinance, additional regulations with regard to forfeiture and impounding. I read the regulations and I've read the vehicle code, and quite frankly, I don't think that those regulations will withstand judicial scrutiny if challenged, and that's why it's not recommended on tonight's agenda.
Thanks for clarifying that, Mr. City Attorney. Okay, great. Any other questions or comments, gentlemen? All right, so seeing none and hearing none, let's open it up for public comments. Madam Deputy City Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to make comments regarding tonight's agenda item number 12A?
Mayor, I'll give the public just a moment to utilize the feature. Mayor, I'm not seeing any public comment at this time.
Thank you for that, Madam Deputy City Clerk. Okay, gentlemen, any final questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll be very happy to introduce ordinance 1403. Wait for the reading. It's an ordinance adding chapter 10.30 to the Bellflower Municipal Code, prohibiting spectators or motor vehicle speed contests and street racing events.
Second.
Great, so I have a motion by Councilmember Santa Ynez and a second by Councilmember Hamada. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Denton.
Aye.
Councilmember Hamada.
Aye.
Councilmember Santa Ynez.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Coops.
Aye.
Mayor Garza.
Aye. Thank you so much for that, Madam City Clerk. And as we transition onto item 13A, just a quick note on that last item that we just passed. This is just a friendly reminder to residents that when you see these types of activities, please not to report them on social media, but to, in fact, please call the substation or our Lakewood Sheriff Station. Posting on social media will cause a delayed response. So again, if you see these activities, please make sure to call them directly to the substation or to our Lakewood station. Thank you for that. And so with that, item 13A, Mr. Stewart.
This is consideration of possible action to read by title only, waive further amend reading, and introduce ordinance number 1442, and ordinance amending 2.16.1010 of the Bellflower Municipal Code to provide a salary adjustment for members of the City Council following the next general municipal election. As you know, the state and local code allow periodic adjustments to the council's salary. They must be approved in a certain period of time that precedes the general election of city council members. This is a ministerial item put on approximately every 2 years by the city staff if the council wishes to increase its stipend that it takes every month as for being members of the city council. It's not mandatory, it's purely discretionary. If the council does seek to take the increase as proposed in the staff report, it'd be prudent to approve this item. If the council wants to take other action, it'd be appropriate to direct the staff to do that accordingly.
Thank you for that report, Mr. Stewart. And just to clarify, so this is one of those items, we have other items that come up before the city council that are automatic, right? It's not necessarily a requested item, it's just simply.
Correct. This is an item that we bring up prior to every meeting. We don't seek direction from the council because we obviously know the sensitivity occasionally on the politics of this. So the council, the staff brings it up every 2 years prior to the general election. Some years the council takes raises, some years they don't, and it's that way in every city, and it's purely a discretionary item for you.
Thank you for clearing that, Mr. Stewart. Okay, so with that, let's open it up to questions. Councilmember Hamada.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, every request obviously could have two sides, and definitely I do recognize that this body works really hard, definitely beyond 2 meetings a month, and there's a lot of other activities, endeavors that we participate in, which takes a good amount of time, sometimes travel, and now a lot of Zooming, and definitely this council has shown that it has value and it's valuable to this community because things are happening, and I do see that. On the other hand, this is a tough time for people, and timing, some people may say that might be kind of off because I'm not working, I'm not, no job, business closed, no customers, other things, and I think earlier this year we looked at our budget and saw some of the needs, and again where we're at. Again, thank you, staff, for at least bringing this forward, and thank you for the survey. The survey tends to keep us on the higher side. I was quite surprised, especially Downey, for where they're at with paying their council. So I'm not sure why they do it that way over there. But like I said, from my standpoint, I'm not sure if it's the right time. again, if we only do this every 2 years, I know that makes it a little, little maybe hard to swallow if it's not cleared. But just from a personal standpoint, I think the timing is unfortunately off. Like I said, I know this a council, like I said, a council works hard. All other cities, councils work hard, and there is some compensation. Like I said, it varies throughout the communities. I think our salary right now seems fair. It's a little, right now it's been tougher for me, this one, to see something move forward on this from a standpoint of increasing pay. So no, questions about it. Again, just my thoughts and my comments, and I think where I stand. This one's definitely tough for me to accept. So maybe I'll just leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Hamada. Councilmember Dutton.
Thank you, Member Garza. I was the one that asked for have this brought here up on the agenda, and I didn't know that the salary, I thought we were further behind than the other cities. And once I saw that, I questioned it, and then I decided to go forward and have it put on here. I know every one of you my colleagues are very, very generous, and ever since I've been here, I've been given my pay pretty much back in the community as donations. Because everybody's wanting a $100 check through the month, and pretty much my salary is donated back to the community, and then more of that. And I just didn't want to get too far away from the salary adjustment, because it's every 2 years. Who knows if those other cities are raising theirs right now, the same thing that we are doing. And as far as a generous person that I am, and I know you guys are, that's why I'm doing it, is because everybody knows what they donate. There's always somebody asking for something, and all 5 of us is more than willing to write that check for the good cause. We're all good stewards of this community, and I just didn't want to get too far behind, and that's what my analogy is, and why it's on this agenda, and that's why I'm supporting it.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Dutton. Mayor Pro Tem Coops.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Mr. Hamada said it best, timing's everything. It's difficult to expect members of our community to sacrifice without showing leadership and doing the same thing. Not that $100 a month is going to make a difference one way or another on our stipend, but I really, truly believe that we're going to be asking, when we figure out our budgets and our income, some concessions from our employees and from others in the community. Could be layoffs, could be percentages, we're not sure, but I do know that it would be difficult for me to negotiate in good faith, knowing that I took a raise and that I was asking them not to. So I would be opposed to changing our salary schedule.
Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem Coops. Councilmember Sunny Santinez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My sentiment on this is I basically treat the stipend as a pass-through money, basically. And just like what Councilmember Dunn said, it goes to an account, and basically my wife doesn't even see it. It just goes away. So we don't even count that as part of the household budget because it's gone. Once it comes in, it's gone. But at the same time, just like what Councilmember Hamada said, I'm cognizant of the situation at this time. It just find it hard for me to swallow an increase, no matter how nominal it is, whether it's $5, $10, whatever the amount is. I think it's the perception, the image that it will project that we are getting an increase where other people's salary are going down. Some people don't even have jobs, and in our staff, 2 weeks ago, is taking a furlough between Christmas and New Year. So I'm inclined not to take this, but at the same time, if there's a point in time that we are so far behind, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. City Manager, I think the way the process works, the 5% every year will catch up because that's the number that will be multiplied by the number of years that we did not get an increase. Correct. So it will catch up later on. So we may be
If
behind.
you get reelected.
Yeah. We may be behind.
You got to sit up here first.
But they will. You will. You will. You're the only one. You will. So, but there's a provision for that. I'm just stating the point. There's a provision for that.
Yeah.
So I think the days that we are so far behind is gone, because I think the mechanics will allow for that to basically correct itself at some future time. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Councilmember Santaines. And I think my questions and comments were frankly captured by most everyone here already. So with that, if there aren't any more questions or comments from my colleagues on the council, I'd like to open it up for public comments. Madam Deputy City Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to make comment regarding item 13A this evening?
Yes, Mayor, I'll give the public just a moment to utilize the feature. Mayor, I'm not seeing any public comment.
Thank you for that, Madam Deputy City Clerk. Okay, so unless if there's any final questions or comments, gentlemen, I will entertain a motion.
I
Guess
guess
there's no motion.
my motion is
Dies, doesn't it?
take no action on
no
ordinance 1402. Is that an appropriate motion? Take no action.
Okay. So I have a motion. Is there a second? We don't need it?
No.
Yeah. Move on.
Okay, great. So I just want to make sure that we, not a problem. So moving on from item 13A, item 13B, Mr. Stewart.
This is consideration possible action to authorize city manager to execute agreement file number 876 in the form approved by the city attorney with Gift Bar LLC to create a community economic recovery gift card program and assign a portion of collected cannabis fees to this program to disseminate anti-drug messages and gift card added value bonuses. And Mr. Del Longa has a staff report for this.
I found out the hard way that you need to unmute yourself before you share your screen. So I apologize for that.
He already made the recommendation, so.
So let me get this back up on the screen. And we'll move ahead. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight, staff is requesting the City Council consider the implementation of a community gift card program for Bellflower small businesses and the use of funds from the Cannabis Drug Education Rehabilitation Fund to include anti-drug messages in the program and fund gift card added value bonuses. Economic development staff is always on the lookout for innovative ways to support the business community in Bellflower, as well as fulfilling the City Council's commitment to educate the community regarding drug abuse. A Bellflower-specific digital community gift card program that includes anti-drug messaging seems to be a great way to address these needs for a number of reasons. The gift cards can be sold 24/7. They can be bought now and used later. They provide a web presence and gift-giving platform to small retailers. They can generate immediate revenue for merchants. They can create new customers. They typically generate more revenue than the face value of the cards. The gift cards are trackable and manageable. This helps money spent on gift cards to stay local and go to local merchants. Customers can personalize their gift cards with a message, photo, or even a video. And anti-drug messages would be widely viewed and distributed on the merchant marketplace as well as on the digital gift cards. The custom gift card program can be expensive to set up for small businesses. This program will provide a platform to offer gift cards to their customers for no initial costs and no out-of-pocket costs. It's a local community-based program that adds customer convenience. Additionally, and hugely important, with the wide distribution of these digital gift cards will be the city's message about how drug abuse can negatively and drastically impact people's lives. To implement this two-pronged program, staff is recommending, why am I getting mixed up all this time? Staff is recommending entering a professional services contract with Gift Bar LLC to provide the technical assistance and online marketplace platform for the program. The cost to the city for these services is $175 a month or $2,100 annually. You may think that sounds pretty inexpensive, and you're right. So Gift Bar will also generate revenue from the sale and use of the digital gift cards. Purchasers will pay $2.95 when they buy a gift card, and 3% of the value of the gift card, which is deducted from the merchant's revenue, will also go to Gift Bar. That typically works out to 75 cents on a $25 gift card and $1.50 on a $50 gift card. Should the program be approved by council this evening, program implementation would take place in 5 steps. First, Gift Bar would build the merchant marketplace website. We would promote to and invite Bellflower businesses to participate in the program. We would promote the program and direct the community to the marketplace. Purchase of digital gift cards by consumers and gift givers would then take place. And then the consumers would take the digital gift cards to the merchants, typically spending 2 to 3 times the face value of the cards. As an added benefit to both the merchants and the folks purchasing the cards in the midst of the pandemic, staff is proposing funding a gift card bonus program that would increase the value of each card purchased. A $20 gift card would get a $5 bonus, making it a $25 gift card. The purchase of a $40 gift card would get a $10 bonus, making it a $50 gift card. To do this, staff is recommending the City Council assign $10,000 from the Cannabis Drug Education and Rehabilitation Fund to the program. If approved, use of these funds would not only provide the gift card bonus, but the anti-drug messaging will also be included on the merchant marketplace webpage and on the digital gift cards themselves. The gift card bonus portion of the program would be available until the funds run out. Partnerships are a key to a program like this succeeding. Not only will economic development staff work with Gift Bar to get the program off the ground, staff will seek to partner with the Bellflower Chamber of Commerce to promote the program, and will also seek contributions from some of the larger businesses in the community to add to sponsor the bonus fund in an effort to extend the life of the bonus program. To date, staff has done some preliminary outreach to the downtown businesses, and all that were contacted were willing to participate in the program. So far, staff has not yet sought contributions to the program. So based on the foregoing, staff recommends the City Council, 1, authorize the city manager to execute agreement file number 876 in a form approved by the city attorney, and pursuant to section 10H of resolution number 19-65, authorize the city manager to assign $10,000 from the Drug Education Rehabilitation Fund to include anti-drug messages on the merchant portal and digital gift cards and fund gift card bonuses, or alternatively, discuss and take other action related to this item. This concludes my report, and staff is available to answer questions related to this item.
Thank you for the staff report, Mr. De La Longa. Let's open it up to questions from my colleagues. Let's start off with Councilmember Ray Dutton, please.
I think it's a great idea. I do gift cards in my business. I manage them in-house. Reading the staff report, this company that seems to have all the bases covered online, it almost looks like the merchant can manage it through his business and know, you can kind of track how much like a $50 gift card brings in other business, is because everybody comes with a gift card, well, could bring another 2 people or so at minimum, whatever. I think it's a great idea. I know Johnny Rebs has got, or the True South's got one great gift card program there. They kind of do the same thing with, you buy a certain amount, but you got a bonus amount with it. The gift cards work from what I've done and what I've experienced and how I use them with my business. It's an excellent thing, and I really think the city getting behind this with the Economic Development Department is a nice brainstorming, great idea. That's it.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Dutton. Mayor Pro Tem Coops.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jim, we're thinking about $10,000 being the initial amount to fund this. Do we know how much money we've accumulated in our education fund for the cannabis?
Yeah, I believe that is $117,000, I believe.
117.
All right, so we got 117. I'm enthusiastic as Mr. Dutton is about this, and I'm wondering if we should even throw a little, could we underwrite?
Well, we can always add to it.
Add to it, what was there, a percentage that 3% or 1.75 or something that they're earning on this stuff?
Yeah, there's the merchant fee is on it, but I think it was 75 cents for
Jim, go back
25.
to your merchant page on that, the merchant earnings.
I think it was 75 cents for the merchant loses 75 cents on a $20 gift card is what I saw, or $1.50, which is nothing when you're bringing in business.
No, I get
as
it.
Marketing and as an advertising budget, as much as you spend on marketing and advertising, that's very, very minimal.
No, I get it. All right, I wondered if we could underwrite that as well, but that's just me trying to give the money away. We'll see how far the $10,000 goes.
It's not that we couldn't tinker with that later, if it turns out that's the way that should go.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem Coops. Councilmember Sunny Santinez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jim, a couple of questions. You have 2 examples of the gift card amount, $20 become 25, and then 40 becomes 50. Is that the maximum amount? Is $40 becomes 50?
That's what we're recommending. You could buy any number of gift cards. So if somebody wanted to buy 2 $40 gift cards, they'd get a $20 bonus and make each of those a $50 gift card. So we think these were the amounts that people typically buy to give gifts for and so forth. So these were the numbers that we started off with. We could do a higher value card and add another bonus to it if that's something that the council wants to do.
Yeah, because I've received $100 gift cards. I was thinking of more on that, if that's a possibility. Because I see what you're saying, but if a person, a customer purchased 2 $50 gift card, that means that person paying $2.95 twice.
Good point. We could make an $80 gift card with a $20 bonus, which would make it a $100 gift card.
So I think that would send a better message, I think, in terms of big givers, especially with the holidays coming. I think $100 will be more attractive. So I'd like you to consider that. The second question I have is, I'm hoping the answer is yes. Will the card be limited for use only in Bellflower?
Correct.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Correct,
And
right.
then-
What we'll do is we'll advertise this to the local businesses and they will sign up and have their own listing on the marketplace, and people will go on that marketplace and buy the gift cards to the specific businesses.
Okay, all right, very good. Again, thank you so much for being innovative. I think it's a good assistance to our business community. I think that's something that will make Bellflower even better. So thank you. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Santa Ynez. Councilmember Hamada.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jim, again, thank you. This is, again, very timely, and it's creative, and it's an excellent way to inject, funds back to the community. Yeah, it serves as marketing, serves as education. Hopefully, it's going to, expand goodwill. So there's all positives here, and I would agree with the sort of the upward scale of as the price of the card goes up, the bonus could be expanded. So Jim, if it's approved tonight, how soon does this get going?
The vendor gift bar can get the website up in a week to 2 weeks, if not faster. The time that it'll take is getting the businesses on board. But since I've done a little bit of preliminary scouting on the businesses, we can get a number of businesses on board pretty quickly. It's a very easy process, as I understand it to be. It's a online sign-in type of thing. And we don't want to rush it too much. We want to get it going, but we want to get as much participation from our Bellflower businesses as possible that can use gift cards in their businesses. So we want to try to get mailer might take too long, especially in the climate of the post office right now. So we really might do some on foot promotion for this with some flyers and get people going. And so I'm thinking within 3 weeks we can get this up and running.
All right. Okay. Very good. It's a great program. Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Hamada. Most of my questions actually were answered, but I do have one, and I'm not sure if it was covered here and I missed it. But what is the target type of business for this? I know we talk about small business, but what is the definition of that?
Well, it would be any business that can use a gift card in the way they do business. I mean, some service businesses may not be able to do this, but this will be helpful for salons, nail salons, barbers can use this. As you heard, automotive can use this for oil changes and so forth. So a wide variety of businesses could utilize this, and we'll leave it open to everybody. If they feel that they can use gift cards in their business for accounting service or insurance or whatever it might be, they're welcome to do it if they are willing to accept gift cards for their service that they offer to the community. So I think it could be open to just about any business that wants to utilize it.
Even at grocery stores and larger,
I think
like
small
chain
markets maybe. I don't know if a national chain grocery store or regional chain grocery store would want to take advantage of something like this, but they could, because people would buy gift cards for them, and it's possible. We would target more like the small markets that are around town. The mom and pop type markets, mom and pop type restaurants, mom and type businesses in general that are out there. We are full of them, and they're a huge part of our community. So we want to really get them up and running on this as quickly as possible.
And then the last question I had is probably, I'm not sure if I'm overthinking this, but maybe just a caution of, not that I have anything against home-based businesses, but there's always a potential for abuse. And so I would just, if there's any way that we can, able to cover that. I'm not sure if it's, again, if I'm overthinking this, but I see the intent. I'm absolutely 110% behind it. I think it'll help stimulate for money that's here to stay here, and for others that want to come here and spend their money here to get more value for the money as well, which is fantastic. I would just hate for it to be abused in the types of businesses that aren't necessarily like a brick and mortar, and that are a little harder to track. So And that completes my comments and my questions. Any other comments or questions, gentlemen, before we move on? All right, seeing none, I'd like to open it up for public comments. Madam Deputy City Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to make comment on item 13B this evening?
Yes, Mayor, I'll give the public just a moment to utilize the feature. Mayor, we do have someone that wishes to speak with the screen name of just the initials NT, so they will need to identify themselves with the name prior to speaking.
Great, welcome. Can you identify yourself for a matter of the record, please?
Yeah, my name's Noah Tillman.
Welcome, Mr. Tillman.
Hey, I'm the product manager of Gift Bar, and I wanted to be a part of tonight's meeting to make sure all answered questions were able to be handled by Jim. And Jim, I wanted to say great presentation. And I wanted to further elaborate on the two last questions. To put it simply, the best merchants for Gift Bar, the ones that are most applicable, have a physical location where a gift card can be redeemed. So that ensures that the consumer of the card can ultimately use it during regular business hours, and we can also track and verify legitimate businesses. So if somebody does have a home-based business, we don't typically onboard them to the platform. To kind of go into your second question about your reservations as far as fraudulent activity or merchants that necessarily shouldn't be on the platform, we don't onboard anybody who isn't basically verified with a physical business address. And additionally, so I work personally with whichever reps are spearheading the project from the city side to go through the merchant list and ensure that all of the merchants on the platform are businesses that should be. So there's kind of two ways that we mitigate the risk on that side.
Thank you so much. That actually provides a lot of a breath of reassurance. So I appreciate that, Mr. Tillman. Any other comments that you may have for us this evening?
That's all. I'm here to answer questions if anybody has any.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Tillman, for joining us this evening. Madam Deputy City Clerk, do we have any other? I'm sorry, before we move on. Thank you. I saw you from the corner of my eye. I believe we have some members of the council that wish to ask questions of Mr. Tillman. Mr. Dutton.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a question as a merchant's perspective. If a merchant signed up for the platform, is there a way for the gift card that they would get? It would be just for the merchant of their choice that's on the platform. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And could the merchant do a better deal on $100 gift card for, let's say, $75?
Of course.
Yeah, so we're able to can make it customizable, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, we can do
Great.
promo codes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for that, Mr. Dutton. Any of the council members wish to make? Go ahead, Mr. Coops.
Yes, Mr. Tillman, it's Council Member Mayor Pro Tem Coops. We talked a little bit about national chains. I'm thinking we have some great markets in town. We have Aldi's, we have Smart and Final Plus. Has your product ever been used in those environments?
Yeah, absolutely. It's able to be used with, like I said, any platform or any physical location. It just comes down to whether or not that business is receptive to the concept.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Coops. Any other questions, comments, gentlemen?
I have another one.
Go ahead, sir.
Another one. Councilman Dutton here. Does the merchant have to swipe the card? And if so, is there other special equipment, or does he have to have his equipment updated?
Actually, neither. So as long as they have either a smartphone, tablet, or a computer, they can access their backend portal, which is a quick login, email and password, and then immediately the page, when they log in, prompts them to enter in the 12-digit code that's on the gift card.
Okay,
so it's accessible from any platform, and doesn't require any further technology.
Okay, so it's just the number on the card that they can enter in their portal and they get paid, and then the portal would have their banking information on it?
Actually, we don't even request banking information. We actually mail the check to, yep, the merchant. So it's really easy for the merchant. We try to make it as streamlined and as simple as possible, and giving away banking information is one extra step.
Yeah, that makes it a
So
lot.
we actually, yeah, so we'll mail them the check, and all we need is the physical address, which is another reason why it's important that they have a legitimate address.
Yeah, it makes it great for the smaller mom and pop with no employees. Yeah. Thank you.
You know, I have one final question for both Mr. Tillman and Mr. De La Longa. And it's, is there a way to make it easier for the consumer in our city is there a comprehensive listing of the merchants that are participating in this gift card program? I'm not sure if that's done through the gift bar platform, or if it's through the city website itself, or maybe the chamber, or a combination of the three. Like, how does a consumer know that they are able to use this gift card program in here in our town?
You want to take that, Noah, or would you like me to take that one?
Absolutely, Jim. And I believe I understand the question. Stop me if I don't. So basically, when somebody arrives on your website, so we actually build that for you. It'll be a white labeled website that looks like giftbar.com, but it'll host exclusively the merchants that have signed up through your white labeled platform. So Merced, their website is mercedcares.com. And so when a user goes to that website, which is the domain link that should be promoted, you'll exclusively see the merchants that have A, signed up for your specific platform, and B, obviously are a part of your local area. So they'll be able to browse all merchants that are a part of the program under one page.
Perfect. That answers my question. So, okay, great. Go ahead, Mr. Coops.
Another question. Have you ever had chiropractors, dentists, that kind of activity used on your card? Or is it?
We do have some chiropractors. I would say dentists are maybe more of a stretch. So a little bit about a background about Gift Bar. We're traditionally a B2C company, right? So we're primarily a marketplace for gifting.
Okay.
Which means in theory we sell inherently giftable gift cards, typically spas, salons, restaurants, things like that. That doesn't mean that it wouldn't work. I just can't say that I have seen it before.
Okay. I was just wondering that that's a potential.
It is a potential to answer that question.
Gift card to the dentist is going to work.
Yeah, that's what you want to find under the Christmas tree on Christmas morning, as a gift card to your dentist, right? Thank you for the answer. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's a good question, I think. So that clarified things for me too. So great. Yes. So if there are no further questions or comments, I'd like to continue with the public comments. Madam Deputy City Clerk, do we have any other members of the public wishing to make comment this evening regarding item 13B?
Mayor, there's no other public comment at this time.
Thank you so much for that, Madam Deputy City Clerk. Okay, so moving on. Any final questions, comments, gentlemen? If none, I will entertain a motion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm very pleased to make the motion. It would be a motion to authorize the city manager to execute agreement file number 876 in a form approved by the city attorney. And also pursuant to section 10H of resolution number 19-65, that would be to authorize the city manager to assign $10,000 from the drug education rehabilitation fund to include anti-drug messages on the merchant portal and digital gift cards and fund gift card bonuses.
I'll second that motion.
Great. Okay, so I have a motion by Councilmember Hamada and a second by Councilmember Santa Ynez. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dutton?
Aye.
Councilmember Hamada?
Aye.
Councilmember Santinas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Coops. Mayor Garza.
Aye. Thank you, Madam City Clerk, for that. Item number 14, consent calendar. Gentlemen, any items that you wish to pull this evening from the consent calendar? No? Any conflicts, recusals? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion regarding the consent calendar.
Second.
So I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Coops and a second by Councilmember Santa Ynez. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dutton.
Aye.
Councilmember Hamada.
Aye.
Councilmember Santinas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Coops.
Aye.
Mayor Garza.
Aye. Thank you so much for that, Madam City Clerk. And item number 15, council reports. Let's start with Councilmember Dutton.
I can't wait till we can breathe some fresh air again. I feel sorry for the people fleeing the fires and losing what they have. I know friends and some relatives that are packed up as we speak, waiting for evacuation notice. It's a very sad thing. I can only think of what these people are going through, and my heart is out for them. And I do hear in the northern regions, Washington and Oregon, that rain is either there right now or it's coming tomorrow. That's all.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Dutton. Councilmember Hamada.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things. Let's see, on September 3rd, I attended via Zoom, the SCAG Zoom trifecta. I spent over 5 hours Saturday on 3 Zoom calls. Thursday? Yes, Thursday, I'm sorry. There was a Saturday too involved. But it was with the Transportation Committee, the Joint Policy Committee, and the Regional Council. And the big thing was for the approval of the Connect SoCal plan. And again, just quickly, it's an extensive plan that's pretty much going to serve as a compass for the region. And again, its vision over time. There'll be a heavy investment of hundreds of billions of dollars for transportation projects. Annual job increases of say 400,000 plus each year. And one side thing, it did keep the RENA process active, and we'll be working with, obviously seeing what's going to come forth with the city's housing element down the road. So I won't dwell on that, but again, things are moving along regionally, and hopefully, the money gets invested, the projects happen, and hopefully there's definitely, I know for, lands information, he's going to probably be applying for hopefully some project grants through there, and so on. It's huge, I know, but it's dynamic. It can change. So every 4 years they'll take a look at it, and if they have to tweak it or make some major changes, that'll happen then. This past Thursday, I attended the LA County food distribution, Bellflower High School, hosted by Supervisor Hahn. I want to thank her for bringing one of those to Bellflower. But I did want to shout out to our staff, public safety. They were there, and they were much needed, and we're thankful they were out there. They were making sure, because the people that attended came from throughout her district. So we know her district's extensive, so people were trying to come to Bellflower, and plenty of people were making left turns from drive-through lanes and blocking intersections and so on. So it got all squared. We had some of our staff out there, and they did a great job in covering, and it went from 9 to 12, and obviously there was probably maybe 1,000 cars that came through, and at one point near the end, this was like minutes before noon, the queuing of the cars were still, because I went down McNabb to check. The last car one of our officers made that the last car, and that was at the corner of Somerset and McNabb. And this was minutes before 12, so they still had to cover through all that. I think they had plenty of food stuff, and because they probably gave away about 40 pounds or so of meat, dairy, fruit, and so on, and some dry goods. So I think it was successful. It moved fairly quickly, easily through the parking lot, and definitely took care of a lot of families. So, all right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Hamada. Councilmember Salinas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things here. We have 16 days left for the census, so if you have not filled out the survey form, please do so either by online, by phone, or by mail. Everyone needs to be counted. Also, the Knights of Columbus is conducting a blood drive on Monday next week, September 21st, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. So if you can donate blood, which is badly needed, please sign up for an appointment with www.redcrossblood.org. Also, with much sadness, I'd like to request that this meeting be adjourned in honor of Lena Reeder. Lena was born, Lena L. Holmes, on August 31st, 1913, in Erie, Pennsylvania, to Harry and Bertha Holmes. She passed away on July 14, 2020, 6 weeks short of 107 years. I've known Lena for the last 7 years. I've gone to her birthday celebration of Thompson Park every year, together with her friends, with her bingo friends, that she had been playing bingo every week. She had 2 siblings, Ross and Helen. When Lena's father died, she moved to Long Beach along with her mother and siblings. She graduated from Long Beach Polytechnic High School and worked briefly at J.C. Penney and Bellflower. She met Irvin Reeder at one of the boarding houses that her mother owned, and they married on June 21st, 1936. They were blessed with 2 sons, Jerry and Dean. They moved to their current house on Somerset Boulevard in Bellflower in 1956, and she stayed there until her death this past July, and she passed very peacefully at her sleep. Alina is survived by her son Jerry, 3 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. A memorial service was held in her honor on July 27, 2020 at Forest Lawn, Sunnyside Memorial Park. Our deepest sympathies and heartfelt condolences go out to the entire Reeder family. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Santinez. Mayor Pro Tem Coops.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Dutton and I were speculating as to whether or not you could get a gift card to be used at Caliva or at any of our other cannabis places that would. Why not, right?
Why not?
Anyway, I would also like to ask that we adjourn our meeting this evening in honor of the passing of Charles Robert Bob Snow. I'm doing this on behalf of all of us because we all knew Bob on a first-name basis and knew how important he was, and him and Robin always sitting over here on the left-hand side, encouraging everything we did. So Bob Snow, born August 24th, 1943 to Charleston Barb Snow in Rhode Island, passed away peacefully August 28th, 2020 at the age of 77, surrounded by his wife and daughters. He moved to California when he was very young, settling in Long Beach. He attended Millikan High School, Long Beach State University, and he worked at Boeing for 45 years. He and his wife, Robin, owned and managed Stonebridge Funeral Services here in the city of Bellflower for several years. Bob was dedicated Bellflower Commissioner for many years. He served on the Parks and Rec Commission for 12 years, Town Center Design Review Committee for 5 years, the Temporary Utility Users Tax Oversight Board for 5 years, Public Safety Commission for 3 years, and most recently served at the Bellflower Public Facilities Corporation and Revenue Ad Hoc Committee in the past year. Bob survived by his wife of 40 years, Robin, their daughters Jennifer Pania and Stephanie Wilson, 4 grandchildren, Jade, Dominic, Jenna Lynn, and Angelo, and as well as brother Rick Snow. Many nieces and nephews and friends. Deepest sympathies and heartfelt condolences go to Robin and the entire Snow family. we, many of us attended, the mayor, Mr. Councilman Hamada and myself attended the services this past Saturday afternoon at Encounter Church, and it was a real testament to what a quality person he was. And I can say without any hesitation, Bob and Robin definitely made Bellflower better. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem Coops. Yes, Bob was a special friend, I think, to all of us here in this room, and he was really just a magnificent human being. And I know that, you know, our deepest condolences, as you said, go out to his family, and just, again, just a tremendous friend and fellow Kiwanian, and just, you know, when we attended his service on Saturday, there were so many people there that were not from Bellflower, right? Like the mayor of the city of Cypress is there because he serves the chamber there, right? And so, and that was Bob, just so universal. And again, we lost a big one in Bob. So much left to his memory and Robin and the whole family. Sorry. So on August 29th, I actually attended the City of Whittier's temporary shelter ribbon cutting ceremony. They, like in Bellflower, are embarking on assisting their homeless population. And what was really interesting is the mayor of the City of Whittier showed me there was an encampment in front of their city hall of homeless and protesters. And when I say encampment, I mean an encampment, tents, plywood, and it was something that was not put up overnight. It's something that had been there for a long time. And what was fascinating is we had the ribbon cutting ceremony. He showed me that. 2 days later, when they started enforcing their laws, I was sent a picture by him, and that whole encampment was clean. That whole area, areas that traditionally would have a lawn, were completely just bare. And right, but their public works are already working to restore that yard. But what was fascinating is, as soon as they opened up their shelter, they all went in. Right, and in fact, when we did the ribbon cutting ceremony that morning, the shelter wasn't open yet, and they already had people that were in line waiting outside the shelter that were just ready to go inside. And so, I just commend our team here as well. Really, I think we've started something really transformative in our region, and I just want to commend you for, again, us setting that bar and leading that path. I could tell you that in my conversations with the leadership in Whittier and the community, by and large, they're very, very happy, and they're very satisfied with the direction that they've taken. They took the heat as well, like we did, but now they're nothing but thankful. And so, again, just wanted to report on that. It was really an honor for us as the city of Bellflower to be invited to that event. So I thank Mayor Vinatieri and the whole city council there for inviting us to be a part of that special day of theirs. And then Councilmember Hamada just showed me if you don't mind holding it up, just that he looked it up on the census. And so really proud to show that our community has already superseded the participation rate in our census from 10 years ago. I think 10 years ago we had a 68% participation rate. We're already at almost 71. So thank you for the reminder, Councilmember Santinez. We still have some time to be able to get as much participation in this as possible. Again, at the end of the day, this provides funds for not only us, but for our youth that are going to be here 10 years from now, to provide them additional resources. So I do ask everyone that has not done that. It's super easy. Takes 2 to 5 minutes. It's really easy. And then last but not least, I would like to ask all of us here and everyone that's watching us and everyone in our community just to pray for those 2 deputies that were shot in the city of Compton this past Saturday. Not only for them, but for their families and their friends. Our thoughts are with them and the whole sheriff's family. I was sharing with Mr. Hockman a little while ago that really sad that it takes incidences like this to remind us of how much our deputies really do put their lives on the line to protect us every single day. And so I, again, just take some time to, times are tough. I know that 2020 has been a really extraordinary year, but just, I would ask our community just to take some time to thank our deputies for everything they do in our communities every single day, especially here in Bellflower, and also to our public safety personnel that works here as part of our staff, because they themselves also put themselves on the line every time they go out and enforce our laws here in Bellflower. So thank you to them. And so with that, I will adjourn this meeting in the memory of Mr. Bob Snow and Ms. Selena Holmes to the next regular meeting of the Bellflower City Council at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, September 28th, 2020. It is 9:17 by my watch, and this meeting is adjourned.